broadcast for shooters, hunters, and gun enthusiasts. This is the Firearms Radio Network. The bandwidth for this episode of Gun Guy Radio is sponsored by the Firearms Radio Network. Firearmsradio.tv.
Welcome to episode 176 of Gun Guy Radio. This is a podcast that shines a positive light on the firearms lifestyle. I'm your host, Jake Challand, and this is your weekly dose of positive firearms talk without the politics. Well, this kicks off our two-part series on Benjamin Tyler Henry's invention of the Henry rifle. Mr. Henry, he conceived this first practical lever-action repeating rifle back in 1860. At least that's the year it was patented. And, Henry, he gave, a guy back then on the battlefield the firepower of a dozen marksmen armed with muzzle-loading rifles. So it was like the full-on machine gun of its day almost. And so, there's lots of stories about the Henry rifles on the battlefield, but one is from the encounter with the 7th Illinois Volunteer Infantry, which were armed with the Henrys, and one of the Confederate officers that went up against these guys said that it's a rifle that you can load on Sunday and shoot all week long. So it was... That's where that saying came from, apparently. And, it really was back then. I mean, it was something that was just so out of this world at the time. Like, what? You can load all these cartridges into the gun at once and just roll this lever forward and backwards, and it unloads and reloads the cartridge? Unheard of. Pretty amazing technology of the time. And this week we're talking with Henry Repeating Arms President Anthony Imperato, and talking a little bit about the history of Henry Repeating Arms, a little bit about Anthony and his family and their legacy in the firearms industry. And the next week we'll be talking with Gene Piercy, a.k.a. Evil Roy, and we'll be covering the history of the Henry rifle. And we'll start at the, 1860, the time it was invented, to through the Civil War, through some of the Wild West times, and then kind of, into more modern day adaptations of the Henry style rifle. So I'm really looking forward to sharing these two episodes with you guys, and it's good to be back to Gun Guy Radio.
Do you shop on Amazon? How about your spouse? Does your mom? Does your company? Why not use the Firearms Radio Network's Amazon affiliate link next time you shop Amazon? Bookmark firearmsradio.tv/Amazon, or click through the Amazon link in the right-hand corner of firearmsradio.tv. Get it? Got it? Amazon it!
Well, we have President of Henry Repeating Arms on the line here, Anthony Imperato. Hey, Anthony, how you doing?
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Oh, man, it's just great to have you on the program. I love these classic lever-action rifles, especially the Henry. Really, really cool stuff. So let's get to know you a little bit. Did you grow up in a household, with guns, with firearms? How did you get into the firearms industry as well?
My family's been in the gun business since 1911. Goes back to a police equipment / gun shop, and my grandfather in the Little Italy section of downtown New York City, and it's still there today. We think it's the oldest gun shop in the United States. And in the 1950s, my father started a wholesale firearms company, and then actually segued into purchasing the Ivor Johnson Arms Company in the 1960s, which was manufacturing Ivor Johnson revolvers, some shotguns, and he ran that for about 10, 12 years or so, and that was our entree into manufacturing. I started working in our police equipment shop in the mid-1970s, just coming out of high school, and so I've been in the gun business myself, 35 years or so, 35 plus years, and so we resurrected the Henry name back in 1996 and began manufacturing our lever-action rifles.
That's pretty awesome. So quite the family lineage there in the firearms industry. And, Ivor Johnson, I mean, that's a name that many people know and probably seen.
It was an old world gun company. I think it started 1871, if I remember, and it was kind of waning by the 1960s, and my father purchased it. It was in Middlesex, New Jersey. I'm sorry, it was in Massachusetts, in Fitchburg, Massachusetts, and we operated out of that plant for a few years, but then he moved it to Middlesex, New Jersey, and took it from there.
So Henry Repeating Arms, you guys kind of rebooted that name in 1996, you said. So, from... that you said you started working in the 70s or so. So between the mid 70s to 96, what kind of firearms were you developing or manufacturing then?
Well, I think we had Ivor Johnson until about 1982. My father sold it, and then we had a company in Arkansas called American Military Arms Company. We manufactured the M1 carbine, a variety of handguns, and we closed that down in the early 1990s because we just simply couldn't manage it from a distance. We were still based out of New York, and then we opened up a factory in Brooklyn, New York. At the time, we had a licensing agreement with Colt Firearms to build their Civil War era guns, and we started that factory off with that particular product line, and then by 1996, we resurrected the Henry name, and we came out with our model H001, our entry-level lever action, which 19 years later has become a staple in the firearms industry. It's carried by every mom and pop gun shop and all of the national retailers like Cabela's, Bass Pro, Academy Stores, Gander Mountain, Dick's Stores, Mills Fleet Farms, Dunham's. I could go on and on. Our line has been well received, and you could find it not only all over the country, but our rifles are also sold in 40 other countries around the world. You could go into Zambia, Africa, for example, and buy a Henry rifle. So.
Well, that's really interesting. So you're doing some Colt stuff, and were you? Is that kind of what led to the Henry survival rifle? Some of your past work, did that bring about the Henry, which that was originally the I forget the AR-7 takedown rifle, right?
Yeah, the story behind us making that gun is, years ago, we were approached by Charter Arms to buy their tooling, and the deal fell apart, and we just decided at some point to resurrect a new and improved version of the gun ourselves. So that's what we did. We retooled, we redesigned it, re-engineered it, and really improved it. It was a 1959 Stoner design, which was made for the U.S. Air Force. It was kind of a headachy design, but the changes that we made, it is one of the most reliable semi-auto 22s on the market today. And so that's the backstory on how we resurrected that gun. And it's part of the Henry line. We sell a good number of them, a significant number of them, but our DNA is really the lever action, and what our lever actions are most famous for primarily is they have inherently a very smooth action, a buttery smooth design, no gunsmithing required. It's just how the mechanism works. And so if you pick up a Henry and, you just cycle it, you'll see what I mean. And, I'm also proud of how the gun looks, beautiful American walnut. And, I'm sure you know of our embellishments and how our guns are finished. Not only do they shoot good, if I must say so myself, but they're really good-looking guns, too.
Oh, yeah, they absolutely are. And they, whenever I've held them, you're right, they do have that buttery, smooth action. They feel great. So how do you, I guess, don't give away any secrets, but how do you, achieve that kind of smooth action in your manufacturing process?
It's really in the design itself, and then also how we manufacture our parts. We have a factory in Wisconsin with 175 employees. We have a factory in Bayonne, New Jersey with 225 employees. And they all do a great job to deliver, a product that's reliable and has these kinds of features. I invite, consumers out there to visit their local gun shop and pick up a Henry, or they can start by taking a look at our website, henryrifles.com, or our Facebook page. And we also offer a free catalog, and with the catalog, you'll get a list of dealers in your area, as well as a Henry window decal.
Very cool. Well, what's in the future for Henry? Do you have anything on the horizon here you might want to share?
Well, we will probably round out our lever action line with some bigger calibers, possibly some stainless steel and some color case hardened lever actions, and we'll have a complete array of lever actions from .22 long rifle and a variety of rimfires up through some bigger calibers that would compete with a bolt-action rifle. And then, beyond that, we're looking at different models. We really don't like to let the cat out of the bag until a gun is actually going into a box and ready to be shipped, because otherwise it just causes a lot of pressure for us and upsets the distribution system, the dealers, the retailers, the consumer himself. So what we want to do in the future is we want to continue to be the best long gun company out there, offer a product that works well, reasonably priced, made in America, and backed by the best customer service in the industry. That's what we're all about. And so that and being a good corporate citizen, and that's what Henry is all about. So the folks out there like what I have to say, give us a toll-free call, 866-200-2354 for a free catalog. Feel free to email me personally. I love hearing from the consumer. My email address is anthony@henryrepeating.com. And I'd love to hear from gun enthusiasts, sportsmen, and actually anyone who may not have even owned a firearm before. We have a lot of new first-time gun buyers accessing the Henry line. So we're open to the consumer. We would love to hear from you.
Well, very cool. I'll put all those links in the show notes so anyone listening can check that out. Well, Anthony, I really appreciate your time with us. I know it's very limited, so thank you so much, and hope to talk to you again soon.
Thank you for the opportunity. Take care.
Again, a big thank you to Anthony for coming on the program. Pleasure talking to him, and hope to have you back next week. And tune in next week for Evil Roy, and we'll talk more of the history. Next week might be a long episode talking to Gene because he's cowboy action world champion, and he knows these rifles through and through, and he's one of the biggest fans of them. To show, he's got his own Evil Roy lines at, I think he's got a couple different Evil Roy rifles at Henry Repeating Arms, so we'll get to hear about those next week. Patriot Patch Company makes this episode of Gun Guy Radio possible, and you can head on over to patriotpatch.co and pre-order some morale patches. We have the Huckleberry, I'm Your Huckleberry morale patch, and also the 4-pack of historic U.S. flags patch pre-order as well. That includes the Bennington flag, the Don't Tread on Me flag, the Come and Take It flag, and the Confederate flag. So check that out. And also, we have a Firearms Radio Network t-shirt pre-order going on over there. So you can choose your color, you can choose your size, small all the way up to 5 extra large. That's right. We love you bigger boys too, or ladies. Small to 5XL. We may be coming out with a lady like V-neck or some type of lady shirt as well later on. But these are men's small to extra large. Ladies are more than welcome to wear them as well. And you also get to choose your logo placement, front or back side. You get to pick. And so the pre-order, these ship free August 15th. Check it out, patriotpatch.co. And also, Ryan Cross Hunter Design. Check out all the awesome artwork that Ryan Cross has designed for the Firearms Radio Network. You can design your website, your graphic, new graphics for your company, new business cards, anything. I mean, anything you need. He does an awesome job. And stay tuned. We'll be designing, over the course of this year, we're going to be redesigning virtually every website on the Firearms Radio Network. We already have started with This Week in Guns. We have that redesign in progress. And, website redesigns, it's always a work in progress. So, check it out, thisweekinguns.com. It's mobile friendly. It's looks great on your phone, on your tablet, and on the computer, and we're working towards transitioning all the sites so they all function well on whatever device you're using. Well, that about wraps it up this week. You can subscribe and leave us iTunes review over there or on the podcast app if you're an Apple user. Please consider joining the NRA and the Second Amendment Foundation. And don't forget to check out all the other great shows here on the Firearms Radio Network. Well, that's a wrap, and I'll see you next week.
This has been a production of the Firearms Radio Network. You can find more information at firearmsradio.tv. Freedom. How does one maintain freedom? That's a question our founding fathers pondered over 200 years ago. They believed the solution was in our Constitution and its amendments. We exercise the freedom of speech every day here at FRN, along with the right of the people to keep and bear arms. Preserving freedom. We believe the Second Amendment could possibly be that one amendment that protects all the rest. Help us to preserve America as a shining light on the hill. We do our part by providing entertainment and information that supports the Second Amendment every day. Preserving freedom. What do you believe? Get involved. Show your support at patreon.com/FRN.